You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it? One person can do nothing, but a nation educated can do much. Why does Hollywood make motion pictures like Death Wish and Dirty Harry, always showing how regular citizens are misused and abused and tricked and deceived by their government, and then one lone guy has to stand up for what's right because the whole system is corrupt? Why do you think they make movies like that?
Put the television on. I do not even like to watch news because, I mean, there's drive-by shootings.
Right, but that's what they put. That's what they put on television. And that creates an unreal perception.
And it takes, yes, and it takes our we do not focus really on the government. We focus on the fear more
exactly.
or less,
Right.
instead
Why do you
of
think
digging into our own power.
Why do you think that the justice system in California is called the criminal justice system? California criminal justice.
Yeah.
It's my perception that we are being given the justice by criminals. And they tell us that they have to let all of these people that, yeah, it's been administered by criminals. And they're telling us they have to leave let these murderers and people go free because they don't have the room in the prisons. Yet if they catch you cheating $10 on your income taxes, they'll find you in Afghanistan and bring you back, and they'll have plenty of room. So the point I'm making is that we've been lied to by our government, and we're continually being lied to about everything, and we're all being led into this fear and coming new world order, and I'm saying it's time to wake up and do some homework. I'll tell you why. It's very simple. First of all, these conspirators, these people, make the movies showing you what the problem is. Then they make the movies to show you what the solution is. They know that you are frustrated. They know that the people of America are frustrated because there is no law and order. But that's purposely designed. We're not supposed to have law and order yet.
And now is the time when those technologies are more available to the common citizen than they've ever been before, which means if we choose it, the so-called information monopolies have been broken. Now, there are efforts to regain control over that, because the people in charge know the threat.
The time of day.
They know the threat, okay? So now is the time for people to recognize that citizenship has never been more important than it is today, that the choices belong to us now, and that how long that window stays open is largely up to us now. So by all means, do not be afraid of the current situation. Literally, it's up for grabs for everyone. You're not more in the dark than the next person. Quite the contrary, we're all in this together, and I really do think that now is the time to stand up and be counted. And that may mean that things get very, very active. Very, very active. Don't be afraid to, to get active. Whatever your cause is, whatever your voice wants to say it now, because if you sit back now, things are going to get very scary.
We had better find out where these religious ideas have come from, concepts and belief systems have come from, because as I have brought out in your program many times before, there was a definite collusion between government and religion in this world that we live in today, and especially in America. Is that true?
And secret societies.
Yes, and secret societies behind both.
Yes.
Absolutely. We are reading it to say that God is saying to someone, let's make a creature called man, and we'll call him man. Let's make a creature, and we'll make him to look like us or have our attributes or whatever. Or it could be saying, and the rabbis believe it is actually saying, the emphasis should be on different words. Come, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, implying that man's already here, but for being so great, he's not that great. So someone is stepping in and intervening in our evolution and saying, let's take man and make him in our image.
Let's fix him.
Let's fix him.
Yeah.
All of the scriptures in the Bible that talk about God means actual entities. More than one.
That's right, more than one.
More than one, and that's why very even, excuse me, more than one, because in Genesis 1:1, it is a mistranslation. to say, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That is not what it says in Hebrew. It says, in the beginning, Elohim created the universe, or created the heavens and the earth. Elohim is God in the plural, more than one. That's why later on in Genesis 1, or Genesis 2, God says, come, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Now, here's an interesting point. The rabbis that I have talked with say that there are two different ways to understand that scripture that says in Genesis 2, God said, come, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. I believe the Bible is telling us an encoded story. I think there's more to the story than has met the eye. But one point I wanted to bring out is that in both the Old and New Testament of the Bible, in all of the Bible, Old and New Testament, there are only two scriptures in the entire Bible where the word God is used, and of course it's used all the way through. There are only two scriptures where that word God, it means a nebulous, all-encompassing, divine, spiritual force in the universe.
One of the most fascinating things about the relationship between the ancient Hebrews and Yahweh was the ancient Hebrews were always disobeying Yahweh.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that why the Hebrews, isn't that why we say, why today the big myth is the Jews were always in trouble because they were always going against God? I had this idea the other day. I was thinking to myself, maybe it's because they had it right. Maybe it's because Yahweh was a real jerk, you know, and the Jews, being a very willful, very smart people, said, we don't want to follow this guy. You know, he's got great saucers, and he's got great guns, and he's got, you know, he does flames really good, okay? But, you know, he's a jerk. We don't like this guy. Now, the Babylonians had their gods, and the Sumerians had their gods, the Egyptians had their gods. We had Yahweh. What did the gods do? They battled each other. But, you know, when they weren't working, they were off raping people and, you know, and burning other people's villages down and stuff like that. I mean, it says so in the Bible. Okay, if we're going to take the Bible literally, we might as well take it literally and say, okay, now, what does this tell us about today? What it tells us about today is a number of things. First of all, mythology is a very tricky business. As if the gods were not God, capital G, some entirely transcendental, almighty, one super thing, but actually a technologically sophisticated being, or group of beings more likely, who came in, set up shop, got everyone to build temples and landing fields and pyramid structures which actually helped them to guide or maybe even channel energy in and so forth, and became the pantheons that we today call mythological, but in those days were absolutely real. And one of those gods, I think, has figured very large in our existence, and that is the god known as Yahweh.
There on both sides of the podium are two symbols of political power in America, and they're called fascists. They're a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head, and they are the symbols of world fascism. As I have brought out in your program before, I think that our country and our people are in the hands of some very, very powerful secret societies. Symbols of fascism, Nazism, communism are all around us, and we don't even know what these symbols mean. And so that's what I'm saying. And I also am a firm believer that there's some sort of a connection between Nazism, fascism, communism, and secret societies. I think that can be proven. Then again, to take the next step, I think behind secret societies are some very powerful intellects manipulating us as a people in our country and perhaps all throughout the world.